Final day of the week for Common Knowledge, the show where I look at some random Pauper format legal cards and we just talk about them. Maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. They're mostly bad. But we get to have a lot of fun anyway. So let's see what our first card is to help us wrap up this week. And that card is Urza's Tower. Hell yes. We've got a real Pauper staple here. We had Battle Screech last episode, 2 episodes ago, something like that. That card is a Pauper staple. I would say this is a much better Pauper staple. This is certainly the best Pauper card we've seen so far. Urza's Tower, which was originally from Antiquities. Antiquities, look at me. Look at me. Urza's Tower rules. Let's talk about it. Urza's Tower is a land with the Urza's Tower subtypes. You can tap it to add a colorless. Doesn't seem that great, right? But if you control an Urza's Mine and an Urza's Power Plant, you add 3 colorless instead. So this is part of the Urza Tron cycle, which, Tron, when you're able to Voltron them together, you add this power plant. Tower's the best one because it can tap for 1 or it can tap for 3 once you've got the other things. The power plant and the mine, they can tap for 2 each once you assemble the Urzatron. But the tower is the one that gets you 3 mana. So you get 7 mana altogether if you get the 3 of these together. There are a ton of Tron decks, Urzatron decks in Pauper. I have one that's mono green. That mostly, mono green. It's got green cards in it, but it is mostly about putting giant colorless creatures into play that can help you put other giant colorless creatures into play. It's a lot of fun. There's some cards that you'd use with it, like Prophetic Prism, which is a 2-mana artifact that you can filter a color through, or you can pay a colorless and tap the prism to give you any color of mana. So it works really nicely in like a mono green deck because it can make you the 1 green you need for a bunch of cards. Lots of cards like that. Chromatic Star is another one that does it once before it cracks and goes away, but you get a little something. Is that the one where you draw a card when it goes away? I think it is. There's a lot of cards like that, and a lot of them work really well in Tron style decks. This is a great card. This is a fantastic card. The only trouble is assembling Tron in the first place. And there are a couple of cards. There's actually a new-ish card from Final Fantasy that helps you get there. So now you can play 8 instead of just the 4 that you had before. So you had Expedition Map, which is a 1-mana artifact, and you can tap 2 and sacrifice it to go find any land in your deck and put it in your hand. And then in Final Fantasy, there's also World Map, which you can pay 1 and tap and sacrifice to find a basic land, but you can then pay 3 and tap and sacrifice to find any land. So that's another way of just finding the right Tron pieces, being able to help you get to the assembled Tron on turn 3. I was going to say if not before, but no, turn 3 is where you get Tron, hopefully. And then if you're able to do that, buddy, you got 7 mana on turn 4 plus whatever next land you play. You're set. You can do damn near anything at that point. Urza's Tower is so good. I gotta give this really high in Pauper. In Pauper, this card rules. I'm gonna give this a 9. That might be too high. I don't care. I love it. I love Urza's Tower. Let's get back to where we can randomize. What's my favorite? Before we do that, what's my favorite art of Urza's Tower? This is okay. I generally like the older border, the retro frames. I like this one quite a bit. This Mark Poole one. They're all Mark Poole, aren't they? Or at least all the old ones are Mark Poole. I think this is the one that I have in my Pauper deck, but I think this is my favorite one. I think that's my favorite one. Anyway, lots of good ones. Hopefully we get the other Urza lands at some point, and I can show off the other arts for that too. It's cool that there's so many arts of Urza's Tower and the Urza lands in general. Ether Jacket is a much worse card than Urza's Tower. It's from Ether Drift. It's a 3 mana for a 2/1 artifact creature Thopter with flying and vigilance. And you can pay 2, tap, and sacrifice this creature to destroy another target artifact. Activate only as a sorcery. It's not bad. 2/1 flying vigilance. The problem is it's 1 toughness, and you paid 3 for it. And that isn't good enough. It's you have too many sweepers in Pauper, and there's not a lot of sweepers, not a lot of effective sweepers in Pauper, but the ones that you do get in Pauper will give something -1/-1, or give all creatures -1/-1, or like a breath weapon will deal 2 damage to all non-dragon creatures. It's another one that does 2 damage to all non-pirate creatures. And a card that you paid 3 mana for just to get swept up with all the other cards, it's not good enough. You really want something that can stick to the board. Like a core Skyfisher costs 2 and it's got 3 toughness. So it, unless you're taking a lightning bolt to it, and at that point you're paying, you're losing a card, losing a really good card to take out a creature. This is just too weak. Too weak on the toughness. If this was a 2/2, we might be able to have a conversation, but as it is, not enough. Not enough. I like that it's a Thopter. It's still not good enough. I'd give this a 2.5, I guess. It is nice. It flies. It's got vigilance, so you could block with it on the back end, or you attack with it and can still sacrifice it. You only having it actually only having it as sorcery speed for the destroy artifact, that hurts it. I'd bump it back down to like a 2/2 at that point, a 2.2. Not very good. Not very good. Looks cool. Blood Beckoning is a single black mana for a sorcery with kicker 3, so you can pay an additional 3 when you cast the spell. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. If this spell was kicked, instead return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. So this is just a straight up better Raise Dead. I mean, it's a Raise Dead, but then you could also pay 3 more and have it bring 2 creatures. There are cheaper cards in black that allow you to bring 2 creatures back, but they don't have the modality that this one does, where you could just make this a Raise Dead if you wanted it to. It's fine. It's fine. The problem is there are cards that you play in Pauper that are like this. The best one I can think of is Blood Fountain. But you're mostly playing Blood Fountain because it's an artifact that costs one black. And it puts a blood token on the battlefield as well. So you get 2 artifacts for 1 mana. And then you can sacrifice the Blood Fountain later when you don't need it anymore. And then bring a creature from your graveyard back to your hand. And I think that just has more utility, especially for those affinity decks that really like having those extra artifacts. The modality here is cool. I just don't think you'd use it very often. There also, if you are bringing a bunch of stuff from your graveyard, if you're playing around in your graveyard, you're generally wanting to play like an Exhume or something that brings stuff back to the battlefield. And this certainly doesn't do that. It's not awful, but I don't think it's good enough. I'll give this a 3.4. I'll give that a 3.4. Not good enough. Spearpoint Oread is a 2 and a red mana for an enchantment creature nymph. It also has Bestow for 5 and a red. If you cast this card for its Bestow cost, it's an aura spell with enchant creature, and it becomes a creature again if it's not attached to a creature. So it's a 2/2 with first strike, and then if you bestow it, it gives the creature that you bestowed it to 2/2 in first strike. So it gives it stats. There's a bunch of creatures that do this from Theros, where you bestow it, it gives its stats and its abilities to something, and then if that creature dies, this stops being an enchantment and becomes a creature. So it is kind of nice. I mean, when you look at that, you go, "Whoa, bestow!" You're giving a creature 2/2 and first strike does not cost 6 mana in Magic the Gathering. I don't care, Pauper or any rarity. Like that's no, you wouldn't do that. But if you had because this also becomes a creature, it gives you a bit of insurance that, okay, you're giving something +2/+2 and first strike, so it's a really dangerous creature. You can attack in with a bunch of that stuff, but you also don't feel as bad if somebody spends their cast down or their removal spell on this, because then, or on the creature, because then this gets to be a creature again. You get something left behind. That being said, it's not good. It's not good enough. There are some bestow creatures that are pretty good. I don't think they're from Theros though. I know there's that Modern Horizons 3 Hydra that is really good, that gives reach and trample, and it also has an X in its cost, so you can pump it up and make the creature real big. And one of the cool things about bestow is even if you're playing it as an enchantment, you're paying the bestow cost for it. If somebody blows up the creature that you're targeting, if it was a normal aura, it would just go to the graveyard. But because of the way the bestow cost works, it turns into a creature. So you just cast the creature instead of casting the enchantment, instead of casting the aura. And that's cool. That's cool. This card is not good enough. The bestow is a neat idea. It works for some cards. I don't think it works for this one. I'll give this a 2.6, I guess. It probably doesn't even. It's not worth that, but we'll give it to it anyway. Tangle is 1 and a green for an instant to prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. Each attacking creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. This is a cool card. This is a cool card. Let's see what that in the invasion art's the same, right? Yeah. God. Ugh. Sorry. I saw Spider-Man and I went, yuck. It's fine. I think the art on this is cool. I didn't need it in my Spider-Man. I didn't need it in my Magic Gathering, I like this John Avon art though. John Avon, he doesn't do a lot of non-land cards, but this one is landish. So they brought in John. I think this card is pretty cool. Fog effects are used in Pauper. Generally, you're going to play the ones that only cost 1 mana, like Fog. Or you use like a Moment's Piece that can be flashbacked. So you get it twice. So you don't mind paying the extra because you at least get a second version of the card eventually. But yeah, Turbo Fog is a deck in Pauper. I think it plays Tangle because it is really nice. That second part, that each attacking creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. That's tempo. That's, you get a free attack step. Like, imagine somebody swinging in thinking they've got the victory. You throw a Tangle down, stops them, and keeps them all tapped. So you get to swing in basically twice. Or swing in once and then keep all your stuff up again. It's real good. It's real good. I think this is a good card. I have not seen a whole lot of Turbo Fog deck lists in Pauper, so I'm not 100% sure that they play Tangle, but I'm pretty sure they do. My problem with Tangle is that any paper version of it is uncommon, and this Marvel Spider-Man is mythic rare because it's part of a bonus sheet. And it really annoys me to play cards in my paper Pauper decks that aren't common. Like it feels like cheating. It's not cheating, but it feels like cheating. Like, oh, I should be playing with commons, right? Like, well, how'd you fit an uncommon in my deck? So when they downshifted it in this Vintage Masters, this one that only is in an online set, I don't get that. I can't find a common version of this card to play in paper, so that makes me sad. I can't ding the card for that though. The card is the card. Card is good. Card gets a 6.8. I think it's good. I think it's a very solid card with great art. Molten Gatekeeper. This is a pretty good card. It gets played in Pauper. Pretty almost positive that it does. Let's read it. Molten Gatekeeper is 2 and a red for an artifact creature golem. Love a good golem. And whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. It also has Unearth for a red, so you can pay 1 and return this card from your grave, or pay a red to return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, and you exile it at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield, but it only works as a sorcery. So it's an impact tremors. It deals 1 damage when one of your creatures comes into play. It's already pretty good if you can find like I don't know if it necessarily goes in goblins, but there are a bunch of mono red decks that not even mono red, just red decks in general that put a lot of creatures into play. You play like a Boros version that puts a lot of white weenie-ish creatures in. It's just that you already have this out, so you're able to get those little pings when the creatures come into play. It's also pretty nice in any deck that mills a bunch, or if you're in red, you can discard. Being able to discard this to like a grab the prize. So you discard this, you draw 2 cards off the grab the prize, and then you can unearth this later for real cheap. And sure, you only get to use it the 1 turn before it exiles, but you get a 2/3 that has haste, so you're already attacking with this thing, because why not? And then anything else that you get to play before that combat step also deals extra damage to the opponent. Pretty good. Pretty good. Turns out Modern Horizons 3 was pretty good for Pauper and for so many other sets as well, or so many other formats. Broken even for so many other formats. But the Pauper cards I think are pretty interesting. I like this guy quite a bit. I've got a bunch of copies of him. I played a lot of Modern Horizons 3. This guy's good. I give this guy like a 5.6. It's a great card. It's a great card. I don't have a deck for it, but I'd play it. Okay, more Spider-Man. We get another Spider-Man legend. There's only like 5 Spider-Man legends, and we've gotten 2 of them in our first week of the 10,226 Pauper cards we could have gotten. We got 2 from the same 5 card cycle. Okay, let's see what Spider-Gwen's all about. Spider-Gwen Free Spirit costs 2 and a red for a legendary creature, Spider Human Hero. She has Reach, and whenever Spider-Gwen becomes tapped, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Okay. Trying to think of where you'd play this, and the first thing that comes to mind is either a mono red or a red-black Madness deck. Madness, if you're not familiar, Madness is an ability that some cards have that when they are discarded, they will have a Madness cost, and you can pay that Madness cost and play them instantly. When they get the instant they get discarded, you can pay their Madness cost, and then you get to play them. So they can ignore timing rules, which is kind of cool. Like you get a creature with Madness, and you're able to discard it on an opponent's turn, and you just get to play it. Like you basically played a creature with Flash. It's neat. It's real neat. This is cool in that this is a repeatable way to discard cards and draw cards. You can get rid of the thing that you get the most, and the thing that you discard the most is probably the Sneaky Snacker, which is another Modern Horizons 3 card, but you discard that, and then if you're able to draw, I think you need to draw 2 extra cards a turn. Like you have your first draw, so it's whenever you draw your 3rd card. So you have your draw from your draw step, and then if you're able to draw 2 more cards in a turn, the Sneaky Snackers will automatically come back from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And it's just a 2/1 flyer, but it's a 2/1 flyer that keeps coming back to the battlefield more or less for free, because you're already using those discard 1, draw 2 cards, and then you also just get a little bonus. Hell yeah! What a great deal. Spider-Gwen here allows you to discard the card when you tap it, so you just get to attack with your 2/3. It's a little weak. But let's say you attack with your 2/3, or you crew a vehicle, or you tap it for whatever other reason. You're able to tap it for some reason. You can discard a card, you can draw a card. You can discard your Sneaky Snacker, and then you draw one more card. Problem is you have to draw another card on top of that to get the value to get the Sneaky Snacker into play. And I don't think this card is good enough to justify the other stuff that you'd have to do to bring this in. So it doesn't go in the Madness deck. The reach is kind of nice, I guess. It blocks flying creatures, so it blocks a Glinthawk pretty nicely. But you also have to tap it to get the rummage effect, get the discard to draw. And if you're tapping it, then it's not blocking. So, nah, it's just a no. I like the art. I like Spider-Gwen. I don't like it in my Magic the Gathering, but I like Spider-Gwen generally as a character. I'll give it a 2.3. It annoys me. It annoys me. I don't think it doesn't play well even with itself. I don't think I see a lot of problems with it. Don't like it. Revoke Existence. Here we go. Here is a Pauper sideboard staple. It's 1 and a white for a sorcery to exile target artifact or enchantment. Great, man. It's sorcery speed, so that's a little bit disappointing, but it's pretty darn cheap. And there's so many artifact lands played in Pauper. Even in the decks that aren't strictly affinity decks, there's still a lot of decks that use the bridges or the artifact lands generally for whatever other reason. You can always throw refurbished familiars in your deck, it feels like, and even though you're not technically an affinity deck, hey, you got enough affinity in there that it works out. What if you could just remove those lands from the game? Awesome. What if you could remove indestructible creatures? And I have a deck that uses a card called Kenku Artificer, and it animates a non-creature artifact into a creature. Gives it 3 1/1 counters, 4 1/1 counters, can't remember which, and gives it flying. So you turn one of your bridges, or you turn another indestructible thing, little garbage artifact that's indestructible, and you turn it into a creature that flies. And you go, well, now I have this indestructible flying creature. What are you going to do about it? You revoke its existence. That's what you do. You just go, okay, I don't need to destroy it. I will exile it from the game. This is a good card. It's a you're not putting it in your main deck, but it's a good sideboard piece in white. It's not quite as good as like a Dust to Dust, which exiles 2 artifacts for 1 white. But it's still pretty good. But those artifacts, and this also works with enchantments too, so you're getting a little flexibility out of the deal as well. I think this is a great card. I think this is a 5.9. It doesn't go in the main deck, but it is a card you will be happy to have in your sideboard because it'll handle a lot of nuisances for you. Great card. Narnam. Yeah, Narnam Cobra. I've not seen this card before. It's from Kaladesh. It's 2 mana for an artifact creature snake. It's 2/1. You can pay a green, and this creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. That's not good. That's just straight up not good. There's too many green creatures. I mean, they're mostly green. I guess black has a handful of these too. They're just 1 mana 1/1s with Death Touch on them in the first place. Sure, it's a 1/1 and not a 2/1, but you're telling me that you want to pay 2 mana for a 2/1, which is already not great, and then you have to pay more to give it Death Touch. And if you're given a Death Touch, it's really just so it can trade, because it's going to die to more or less anything anyway, because it's only got the 1 toughness. Bad card. Real bad card. The art's fine. But the art isn't pulling me in enough to get me excited about that either. It's a 1.3, 1.4, maybe. I'd say 1.3. It doesn't work doesn't work for me. Final card of the day, final card of the week is a Highland Forest. This is pretty good. It's a snowland with the mountain forest subtypes to it. So it's got basic land types to it. It enters the play tapped, but it adds green or red. This is one of the ones that you would cycle your Oliphant into this and then be able to play. Like, sure, it comes into play tapped, but it has the land types. It has the basic land types to be able to cycle for it. That you're able to search. You're not able to find a basic land off it, but if you're able to find a forest, you can find this card. Is Farseek in? You wouldn't be able to play Farseek. Oh, yeah, you would be able to play Farseek with this. I think Farseek is in Pauper. I don't play it. I've never seen anybody play it. Not when I've played it anyway. Not when I've played Pauper. I haven't seen anybody play it. But you could go find a mountain, and this does count as a mountain, and you put it into play. These cards are good. What did I give the Guild Gates? 7.2, something like that. I think these are they're better in that they're more flexible. There's also some small snow synergies. There are cards that don't have. There are non-snowlands that also still have the basic types to them, but there are some snow cards that also work pretty well in Pauper. So you might want that as well. So I might even give them a bit of a bonus for being snow here. I'd give these a 7.5. I think the usability of these is high enough where it justifies that. These are originally from Kaldheim. Cool, yeah. I remember playing in I didn't play Ice Age. That's too late for me. Or too early for me. But I did play during Cold Snap, which I know is not a beloved set, but I certainly remember seeing Snowlands and going, "Ooh, what's this? This is cool. Snow synergies. That's interesting." And then I wasn't around when Kaldheim was being played, but coming back and going, "Oh yeah, they made more Snowlands. That's cool. It's neat. It's neat." Yeah, 7.5. I think that's good. That's the week, ladies and gentlemen. This was a lot of fun. We'll see if we do this again another week. But I had a great time. I just like looking at Pauper cards and thinking about them. And even this, like, we gave this a 7.5. That's a really good card. Cost you a whole 31 cents. That's Pauper, baby. That's beautiful. Love that stuff. All right. Well, we'll see you when we see you. Thanks for sticking around with Common Knowledge. See you next time.